Hi, my name is Ewan. This is Anatomy and Physiology with Dr. Atala. I'm doing Lab 5, Experiment 3, Sweat Gland Distribution. So sweat gland is found all over our body and it produces a water-like substance that's composed of salt and water. These glands help regulate the temperature of our body. So for this experiment, we're going to measure the density of sweat in different areas of our bodies. The materials we need for today is some graph paper, some of the Benadine swabs, a stopwatch, a ruler, and scissors and tape. All right, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to carefully measure out and cut out 4 pieces of graph paper 5 by 5. Then we're going to determine which region we're going to measure our density. So for this one, we're going to do our anterior forearm, our palm, our anterior thigh, and our foot. All right, you're gonna take one of these swabs, and then you're gonna clean out the area that you're gonna place the graph on. I'll start with my forearm. They said swab it about a little bigger than the graph paper. It's about this big, and you're gonna let it dry for 1 minute. Then I'm gonna grab a new one and do my thigh. Next is my foot. This is my palm. I'm gonna let this dry for about 1 minute. So after I let the Benadine dry for about a minute, I'm gonna take that graph paper and I'm place it right on top of where I cleaned my area. Then I'm gonna use a piece of tape and I'm gonna secure the piece of graph on it. I'm gonna do this for all 4 regions. Okay, so I'm gonna let this sit for about 20 minutes, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna count the number of dots on each of the squares that appear on the graph, and then we could determine the density of our sweat glands in each of the region. So it's been 20 minutes since we placed the graph on each of our region. In the lab earlier, it noted that the Benadine swab may not produce high number of dots if you don't sweat as much, which is normal. I think this project wasn't that effective for me either because it's been so cold and I don't feel like I sweated at all. So for the last 5 minutes, I started just doing a lot of movements to see if I produce any sweat. So later when you do the lab, I recommend for you to, after you place this graph on, try to move around, try to do some sort of activity just to get your sweat gland going. Okay, so now let's stick at the palm. So this is what appeared on the palm. It's supposed to appear some sort of black, blue, or brown dot if your sweat gland does appear, but mine doesn't really show as much. So here's this for my forearm, my thigh, and my foot. So yeah, didn't sweat much, which is normal. I don't think I sweat much normally anyways. But if I did sweat, I think that it would, usually when I sweat, it's usually my palms or like my thigh. That's where I seem to be sweating the most. And the purpose of sweat gland is for the thermoregulation. It's when your body temperature rises due to physical activity. And so yeah. And this experiment, one of the questions was that if you perform this result on a friend, would you have the same result or different result? It would be a different result because everyone's body temperature is different. It depends on your weight, your size, your mass of the body. So there's a lot of factor that plays into sweat gland. So yep, this is the end of my lab.